Hello, I'm Daz and welcome to American Civil War and UK History, and behind the camera is my good friend Chris Mikowski. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Obin.
So here we are, and in the background you can see an important monument. So we're in the location where the Great Fire of London will start in 1666. Now, this is Pudding Lane just behind me here. We're actually in modern day Monument Street. Now, technically the shop is in Pudding Lane, but technically the fire starts here in this street again, which was not here during that period. But the Great Fire, what happens? Well, on that morning of the 2nd of September 1666, the Great Fire will start in the back of Thomas Farriner's bakery, and it will spread very quickly. Now, why does it spread quickly? Well, it will spread quickly because at the time London is still a medieval city. All of the buildings are made out of wood, and of course it's been a hot, dry summer as well, and so it's like a tinderbox. The whole of London is like a tinderbox ready to go up. The other thing that accelerates the fire is the easterly winds, and the fire is going to literally get blown like a wildfire does today through the streets of London and cause absolute devastation everywhere.
The Great Fire reached St Paul's Cathedral. St Paul's Cathedral had already been standing 600 years when the Great Fire had reached its doors, and what really didn't help St Paul's was the fact that they were having repairs and restoration done, and was clad in wooden scaffolding. Also, some of the roof's timbers were exposed, but regardless, it wouldn't have stopped it anyway, as the fire reached around about 1,000 degrees.
And some accounts say that the stones from St Paul's Cathedral exploded like grenades. The 5th of September, the wind changes direction. It starts blowing it west. So at this point, it's going towards the Tower of London. And this is going to be a problem because it's the gunpowder store for London. And there is a lot of gunpowder in there. If this goes up, this is going to be like an atomic bomb of the time. And half of London, like the rest of London, would have been wiped out. So what they do, the technique of firefighting at the time was a thing called a fire break. So they would send out teams of men to break down structures in the fire's path to try and bring it to a stop. And so what they do is they get some of this gunpowder and they blow down some of the buildings that are in the fire's path.
Eventually the wind dropped, and the fire breaks that had been created finally started to take effect. Although there were still many little fires burning, the Great Fire of London finally came to an end on September the 6th, 1666. In total, the Great Fire of London destroyed 87 churches, 13,000 houses, and cost around about £37 billion of damage in today's money, and left thousands of people homeless. One of the best accounts of the Great Fire of London was by a man named Samuel Peeps. Now, Samuel Peeps had been keeping a diary since the 1st of January 1660 and observed the fire from the River Thames and recorded it in his diary. After the fire, Londoners were looking for someone to blame. Of course, the most obvious choice would be the Dutch, as England and Holland were at war at the time. The other choice could be the French, as England and France had had a strained relationship for many years. But then a Frenchman named Robert Hubert confessed to starting the fire, but it is believed now that he was mentally ill. Robert Hubert was found guilty and executed on October the 29th, 1666 at Tyburn. Now, one thing to point out is that the baker, Thomas Farriner, actually testified at Robert's trial. Thomas Farriner will end up getting away with starting the Great Fire of London.
The monument is 202 foot tall. Now, if you was to lay the monument down, it would lay down and it would be literally on this spot around about here. And the monument is designed by an architect named Christopher Wren and Robert Hooke. And this is the result. And it symbolises the phoenix rising from the ashes.